I like this real hard convective stuff that's coming. There's nothing soft about this storm.
That real deep, bright convection's in there too. You can see it wrapping around the southwest side of the eye.
Yeah.
And we're in for it.
No, oh, are you filming? Yeah. Hope Cacciatore's on this time.
He should be. It seems like he's having a lot of fun with it this morning.
Good morning, Jim Cantore live in the Weather Channel Forecast Center. Continue to update you on a very dangerous Hurricane Opal, and you may not be aware of it, folks, but at this time yesterday morning we had a very strong Category 1 becoming a Category 2 storm. Now this morning we have a significant Category 4 storm in Hurricane Opal. So we got a major player in through here, and it may be hard to get off the mindset of the Simpson verdict and whatnot, but I'm telling you, you've got to take this serious, and here's why. Let's go to the hurricane warnings this morning, and you can see where they are from the mouth of the Mississippi, the Anclo Key. We expect hurricane-type conditions within 24 hours, and you can see tropical storm conditions extending westward and eastward. Didn't find too many.
Michael, can you make it a little bit louder?
Storm gusts yet, but that will be happening as we work our way through this afternoon. You can see what is happening when you talk about a hurricane warning. Winds at 74 miles an hour or greater, torrential rains, and dangerous high tides and seas. And I'll tell you right now, tides are going to play a big role in this. Storm surge is one of the big problems we're going to face with Opal. And we're talking about seas here that are going to be anywhere from 12 to 20 feet as this thing just piles up the water. Now again, we could be talking about a landfall near Pensacola, but any type of change there in direction is going to obviously change the path of this thing considerably. So do not let your guard down if you live in Mobile or if you live in Pensacola or obviously if you live in Apalachicola. Speaking of Pensacola, our very own Bill Keneally is live at Pensacola Beach.
I know, they said Bill, he's not coming back from this chase.
Rainy weather this morning. Give us what you're currently seeing there.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. Again, we are here in Pensacola Beach. We're about a quarter mile, by the way, off of the Dock Sykes Bridge.
I'd like to turn that light off up there. You want to pause yours for a second? Yeah, this light.
As you can see, as we look down the beach to our east, you can see the seas are definitely very angry. And once again, the seas are probably running about 4 to 6 feet, I'd say, right now. These are probably some of the swells that were generated probably a day, maybe 2 days ago. And once again, we're looking for the tide coming up. Tide's about high right now. You can see some of the seaweed and the debris coming up the beach. And we saw a high tide last night. It was not near this high. We actually tried to set up a live shot up on the pier, and once again, you can see the water now.
I wonder if this is that same pier we've been to.
I think it is.
Pier decking. So it looks like that pier is probably not going to stand the test of time too much longer. Again, I think we've been very lucky here over the lower 48. As you had mentioned, we've had a very, very active season. But once again, you get a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico, there's really little way out.
Very much for that report. We'll keep checking back with you, and obviously with an approaching system, we're going to see the winds pick up, we're going to see the waves pick up there where Mr. Keneally is, and I would imagine before too long they're going to even kick him out because we are talking about a very, very dangerous situation. Let's get into this a little bit more. You can see behind me the hurricane, and one of the interesting things that the Hurricane Hunter aircraft is reporting is a lot of thunder and lightning associated with this particular storm, especially on the northeastern side of it where they found a tremendous flight level wind at nearly 175 miles an hour, but that's at 5,000 feet up. And for some reason, I wouldn't be surprised if that's adding to the intensification of this thing. But right in here, you can see the eye of the storm moving to the north-northeast, and we are talking about a landfall sometime around 15 hours. Now, again, any type of diversion there, and you've got a whole different track, and that's why I'm saying from Mobile over to Apalachicola, you've got to be prepared for this. So storm surge, think about it. You got this thing coming in here, and you're just going to push all this water right up into this convex area known as the Florida Panhandle. And as Bill showed you, all the barrier islands there are just going to be covered with water in what could be a 12 to 20 foot storm surge here coming up. Here's the latest advisory on Opal, 27.0 north, 88.7 west. And notice the wind there, 135 miles an hour. That makes it a Category 4 storm. The pressure down to 917 millibars. It's come up just a millibar from the lowest pressure we've seen with this thing at 916. But an amazing storm to say the least. Let me show show you what this means regarding the Saffir-Simpson scale. Yesterday we were dealing with a hurricane with 100 mile per hour winds. Now we're down here in the Category 4 range of 131 to 155 mile per hour winds potentially with a Cat 4. And if you talk about damage with a Cat 4, you're talking about extreme. And that leads me into the second part of what I have to caution you about here. We're not only talking about the coastline. We are not only talking about the coastline. Take a look at Alabama, Georgia, up into Tennessee and North Carolina. We've seen extensive rainfall up in this area over the past 24 hours, in the tune of 3 to 9 inches potentially. Now you've got saturated soils here, not to mention a Category 4 hurricane moving at nearly 20 miles an hour onshore. There is no way that this thing is going to slow steam that quickly. So don't be surprised if you're going to see tremendous damage in Montgomery, Dothan, Columbus, Birmingham, Atlanta, on up toward Chattanooga, Knoxville, especially if it takes the current path that it is on. So I am not only cautioning coastal residents to be prepared for what could be weeks without power or anything for that matter with the size of this storm, but also inland sections as well. You could lose power, and I mean, I just can't imagine the kind of destruction we're going to see inland. If you can think back to perhaps Hugo, when Charlotte was affected well west of the coastline, I want you to kind of draw some similarities there because I think that's exactly what's going to happen with Opal. All right, that's the latest on that for you. We'll continue to keep you updated. Let's go back to the studios and find out what the rest of the nation looks like with Jody.
Thanks, Jim. We want to remind everyone where the evacuations are mandatory.
A fog out in the
mandatory
West
areas
Coast.
in red. Now, there are some shelters that are set up, but the best thing to do is just leave the coast and head northward because, as Jim was mentioning, and we already saw the pictures from Keneally, that the surf will start to come up and the storm surge is going to be intense with this hurricane. Now, a tornado watch has been issued. This has just been issued now by the Severe Storms Forecast Center until 6 o'clock local time for portions of Florida and through Alabama. Now, I'll show you why, because we have one of those feeder bands, you can see it right here, starting to move very close to the coastline, and which is very common with hurricanes, is that we do see severe weather breaking out, and with this strong a feeder band moving upward, that is why we have the tornado watch that has been issued. You can see moisture streaming all the way up the east coast. We have a strong storm as well across the west, with winter storm warnings down through the Colorado Rockies. High wind watch for the foothills today from Boulder through metro Denver, and high wind warnings down across the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. You can see the tremendous moisture streaming all the way to New York City. You're going to see the showers and thunderstorms moving from Atlanta all the way through the Carolinas, as Jim was talking about, and we have the snow flying throughout the mountains as well. Quick peek at